Hi, Vijay Mistry here, CEO and founder of Renter Director, author of 7 world-class corporate training programs which have a green light status award from the UK Trade and Investment. Our purpose is to see leaders, entrepreneurs, directors, executives and managers achieve standards of excellence in everything they do and scale up their businesses with ease. My dear friends, today I want to share with you something about succession planning, the reasons why succession planning fails. Now, it doesn't matter which company you are. You could be an entrepreneur, you could be a family business, or you could be a private company. This applies to you. These are some of the insights that I want to share with you and why succession planning fails. But at the same time, I want to share with you what you really need to do moving forward. So let's deep dive straight into this particular training where I'm going to share with you what are the key reasons why succession planning fails and what you really need to do. So first and foremost, it's about BAU. What do I really mean by BAU? BAU stands for business as usual. Over the past 6 weeks, I have attended so many board meetings and I've attended so many management meetings as well in different sizes and different sectors, globally in different companies, remotely. And here's what I've noticed is that the mindset, what's happening is the dominating thought process is still very operational. In other words, even when we are trying to go into board level discussions and try bringing succession planning as a priority, that seems to be taking a backstage. And what's happening is the discussions are dominated by the operational short-termism, which is the business as usual syndrome. And this can be detrimental to the growth of the organization. We all know that 2020, this pandemic, has really caused havoc to many globally, and we never know what's going to happen. We don't know what the risk levels are out there as well, and succession planning is a critical component to the sustainability of an organization. The second one which I would like to share with you is unfit. What do I really mean by unfit? Now, I'll give you an example here. There was a CEO in this manufacturing organization, and one of the things that I was doing was I was a company coach, but at the same time I was coaching all the executives. And I got an opportunity to talk to the CEO and give him this deep, immersive coaching session, which he never had in the past. Upon deeply probing, I came to find out that he finally said that, look, I don't even enjoy what I'm doing in the first place. So it was a complete disconnect at the end of the day, and his passion was something else. So he was completely not the right fit for that particular organization. He said, I would be happy doing something else rather than run this particular company. And that can be quite a dangerous place to be. The third, which is such a critical element, is unprepared. Like the saying goes, that chance favors the prepared mind. And what's happening here is that many businesses simply don't prepare. They don't have succession planning as a priority. They don't even have the right incumbents. They could be having, like in many family businesses, they have their sons, daughters, relatives, brothers, sisters. They do have all those, and sometimes they do have those high-end executives as well, who could be the potential candidates. But these candidates are just unprepared to take over the whole business itself. And this is a key problem, is because of that lack of preparation, everything is completely disrupted moving forward. The fourth one is risk levels, and I'll give you an example here. So there was a group of companies, and what was happening is there was a father and son, both were playing an active role. The son was the CEO, while the father was still, like, overall he was still taking a lot of decisions at the end of the day. And here's what happened. The son was aggressive while the father was quite conservative, and he had a different approach altogether. And the thing is, there was a complete disconnect again between the risk levels between the son and father. And there was a lot of frustration, there was a lot of stress. The son wanted to do things differently while the dad had different ideas altogether. So this was causing a lot of disruption. I was observing this particular board meeting, and it was going absolutely nowhere because of this risk level disparity at the end of the day. And finally, this is a big one, and this is a misalignment, is that in succession planning, when somebody comes in or an incumbent comes in, it could be a son, daughter in the case of a family business, or it could be an executive who stepped up in a private company. Here's what really happens is there is a complete misalignment due to lack of training and due to lack of getting the intentions properly in place and aligned at the top. In other words, there is complete misalignment when it comes to the top level. There are lots of conflict of interests as well, which I've noted when it comes to having that top board level leadership pipeline to be sound and stellar, giving those right insights and making sure that the company moves to another level altogether. So, my dear friends, these are the 5 reasons why succession planning fails. There are many others as well, but for the sake of keeping this short, I just wanted to handpick 5 of them for now. But let's step up the game, and I want to share with you what you can really do immediately. First and foremost, you need to confront reality. By confronting reality, you need to ensure that you have the brutal truth in front of you. Anything is possible, anything is going to happen. Somebody said, when should I start planning for my succession planning process? And I said, it's yesterday, because you have to start 2, 3, 4, 5 years in advance before anybody really transitions and takes over, because there are so many components, there are so many elements involved, that it's important that the person whom you are trying to bring on board is well nurtured to take over and start building what we call the value creation building block altogether, and taking the organization to another level altogether. Secondly, this is a big one. You need to identify candidates. It could be internal or it could be external as well in some instances. But whatever the case is, you need to identify candidates, and preferably you should identify a minimum of 2 in order for you to have the right bench strength. In case one has to go for some time, then somebody else can take over. And in some instances, we have noted that many organizations have a CEO and a co-CEO. It's just like a pilot and a co-pilot. So having 2 people, so it's very important to look into it from that particular perspective, so that you are sure that you have the process in place and you have 2 people who have got that strength to take the organization to the next level. The third point which I want to share with you is milestones. Now, what do I really mean by milestones? One of the key indicators and measures of a good successor is to find out and observe what sort of milestones he or she has achieved in the last 4 to 5 years. Because it's very important to find out what sort of bets they have taken, what sort of risks they have taken, and what have the results been. Because those accomplishments will give you clear indicators as to whether they are the right fit and whether they have stepped up their capability over the last 4 to 5 years. So milestones are very important. We know that past does not equal the future, but at the end of the day, these milestones will ascertain and determine as to how they've really progressed over the last 4 to 5 years. It could be longer in some instances, depending on the size and complexity of your organization. Now, this is a big one, and that is alignment. What do I really mean by alignment? Now, I'll give you an example, and this is something which is something which happened in an organization, a family business, and the CEO asked me that, Vijay, I'm up here, I want to go to here. How do I go from here to here? They had over 1,000 employees, and I said, all right, fine. Can you bring your board in? And because it was a family business, he could call them in 5 minutes time. The board was there, and there was 1 or 2 who was the head of finance and head of operation. So they all came in. There were about 4 or 5 of the board members who came in, and I just asked them 4 things. I said, write down. I gave them a piece of paper and pen, nothing else. I told them, write down the purpose of the organization, write down the values of the organization, write down the vision of the organization. Most important, write down this particular specific point of destination that is going from here to here. Identify, is it the net asset value that you want increased? What sort of branches do you want to open? How many more staff are you going to have? What are your bottom line profits expected? What are the timelines? Define it with as much specificity as possible. And you might have guessed it, that they got it completely wrong. And this happens in over 95% of the cases in which I have observed in many organizations where I serve as a non-executive director, as a corporate coach, and helping organizations with their business transformation. But here's the point: the alignment is the key component to the acceleration and to the growth of your organization. Without the alignment, it's going to be very difficult for you to grow. So one more point I wanted to share with you, and that is governance and leadership. Everything starts with that governance aspect. Now, governance has to be completely distinguished from management operations. You could be having a management meeting where you are sharing insights on the management reports or the financial reports of the previous month or whatever the management discussions are. But the governance is a complete different step up altogether, which is at the macro level. When you start discussing about the macro level, a different level of decision-making process comes into play, where you are looking into the strategy, where you're looking into the 50,000 feet, but connecting it to the operational. And that is where even accountability comes in place. I have noted, sadly, role duplicity, too many bosses, unmet expectations, all this happening in organizations due to the fuzziness and lack of accountability at the end of the day. In fact, many even don't know the difference between accountability and responsibility, and how it really helps and how it's going to really take your organization to another level. So root it deep in your organization when it comes to these governance mechanisms. And I always press upon organizations to have one governance level meeting every 6 weeks. Have a governance meeting, again, depending on the size and complexity of your organization. But the global changes are just unbelievably fast. So this is why I press upon organizations to have a governance level meeting, and you should have the diversification. I have a non-executive director depending on the size and complexity of your organization, but small, medium organizations have started getting this contribution on strategy and other things. So they get this diversified perspective with a broader lens, which is helping them make a profound impact in their decision-making process. And lastly, leadership. 3 elements: leadership, innovation, and marketing. These are the things which are going to help you to scale up. Leadership is so important, making sure that you get the right people at the right time, using the best resources for your organization. And it's become easier now with the capabilities of technology-driven mechanisms. We have artificial intelligence building into the efficiency and the effectiveness as well for organizations due to the machine learning capabilities of some of the apps that we have out there. So my dear friends, sharpen on the leadership, because that is going to be a game changer for your organization as we forge forward into this particular decade, 2020 to 2030. My dear friends, I hope you found this video valuable as much as I enjoyed shooting it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where I'll share with you more growth-driven insights to help you to progress and to scale up your businesses. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.